Well, now, let me tell you something that changed my life. Something that, if you really let it sink in today, might just change yours too. One day, my mentor, a man of incredible wisdom, he looked me square in the eye and he said, Jim, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. And I'll be honest with you, that hit me like a freight train. Because here's the truth, folks. Most people spend their lives hoping the world will change. They hope the job will get easier, that the economy will turn around, that people will finally appreciate their effort. They're waiting for the winds to shift, for the seas to calm. But the real breakthrough, the kind that truly alters the course of your life, it doesn't come when life gets easier. Oh, no. It comes when you get stronger, when you get sharper, when you get wiser. You see, the secret is not in waiting for the storms to pass. The secret is in learning how to set your sail when the winds are rough. Success, real lasting success, it doesn't respond to hope. It responds to skill. It doesn't answer to complaints. It answers to competence. It doesn't come to the person who just wishes for a better life. It comes to the one who works on becoming a better person, the one who works on themselves. So I ask you today, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Are you spending your precious energy hoping things around you will change? Or are you investing that energy, that irreplaceable time, into becoming the kind of person who can handle anything life throws your way? This message, what we're talking about here, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for those looking for an easy pass. No, this is for the builders. This is for the learners. This is for the doers. If you're ready to stop waiting and start growing, truly growing from the inside out, then stay with me. Because what comes next might just be the shift you've been waiting for. Life, you see, is designed to challenge you, not to pamper you. Let me tell you something that might surprise a few of you. Life is not supposed to be easy. It's not. It's not supposed to just hand everything over on a silver platter. It's not supposed to knock on your door and say, here you go, everything you ever wanted, no effort required. No, life is not your butler. Life is your coach. And good coaches, the ones that make a real difference. They don't pamper you. Coaches push you. They see more in you than you see in yourself, and they push you to reach it. Now, I didn't always know that. When I was young, I used to wish it was easier. I used to look around and say, why does everything feel uphill? Why all these struggles? But then I got the message, the same message I'm trying to share with you tonight. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Let me tell you what challenges really are. Challenges are not walls designed to stop you. No, challenges are mirrors. They reflect back to you what you're truly made of. Life presents you with a situation. It says, here's a delay. What do you do? Here's some pressure. How will you react? Here's a disappointment. Will you allow yourself to grow bitter, or will you choose to grow better? And unfortunately, most people, they complain. They blame. They retreat. They say it's not fair. But I say to you, of course it's not fair. That's the whole point. Fairness isn't the currency of growth. Struggle is. Difficulty is. Pressure is. Fear doesn't make you strong. Struggle does. Fear doesn't teach you patience. Difficulty does. Fear doesn't demand growth, but life certainly does. Now look, if you remove the challenge, you remove the lesson. You remove the lesson. If you remove the obstacle, you remove the opportunity for strength. That mountain in front of you, that thing that seems so insurmountable right now, it's not a punishment, it's proof. It's proof that there's something inside you, some untapped reserve that's ready to climb. Don't resent the mountain, friend, thank it. Because on the other side of that climb is a version of you that you've never met before. A stronger, wiser, more capable you. Let me give you the truth, plain and simple. If life were easy, you'd be bored, you'd be soft. You'd have no stories to tell, no real strength to speak of, no victories to celebrate. You don't build muscle-lifting feathers, do you? You don't build character by avoiding the fire, and you certainly don't build a life worth living by hiding from discomfort. You want the good news? Here it is. Life will give you the exact challenge you need, precisely when you need it, to become the person you're meant to be. Now, that realization is either going to excite you or intimidate you. And the one you choose, that choice right there, will shape your future. Let me ask you, when was the last time you faced something truly hard, looked it in the eye and said, "This is hard," and then you smiled? You ever done that? That, my friends, is power. That's when the game changes, because now you're not the victim of your circumstances. Now you're the player. Now you're not waiting for mercy from life. You're building mastery within yourself. The challenge isn't in the way. The challenge is the way. So here's the philosophy, the mindset you need to adopt. Don't ask for fewer problems. Ask for more wisdom. Don't beg for easy days. Work for greater discipline. Don't seek less pressure. Instead, focus on growing the shoulders that can carry more. And here's what happens. It's almost magical. When you get better, when you grow that capacity, everything else gets lighter. Not because the load changed, but because you did. Let me close this part with this thought. You weren't made to be pampered. You weren't made to be sheltered from life's realities. You were made to grow, to stand tall, to learn, to lead, to overcome. So the next time life gets tough, don't fall into the trap of asking, "Why me?" Instead, stand up a little straighter and say, "Try me." Because that's when life knows you're ready for the next level. Now, let's have an honest talk tonight about one of the most costly habits you can ever develop. And no, it's not overspending, though. That's a problem. It's not overeating. It's not even procrastinating, though that's a close runner-up. No, the habit I'm talking about, the one that silently sabotages more dreams than almost anything else, is complaining. Complaining is the language of poverty, mental poverty, emotional poverty, spiritual poverty, and eventually, yes, financial poverty. Now, don't get me wrong. We all get frustrated. We all get disappointed. We all have those moments where we throw our hands up in the air and say, "Come on, why is everything so difficult?" That's human. But here's the difference, friend. The successful might visit frustration, but they never build a home there. They don't take up residence in the land of complaint. You see, there's a vast difference between letting out a momentary sigh of exasperation and building an entire life around excuses and grievances. Some folks, and you know them, have made complaining their full-time job. No resume required, no income generated. But boy, do they show up every day, right on time, ready to list all the things that are wrong. Let me give you the formula. When something happens that you don't like and you complain about it, you lose twice. You lose once in the moment because you're focusing on the negative, and you lose a second time because you miss the lesson embedded in the difficulty. See, every difficulty, every setback has two parts: the problem itself and the wisdom it contains. And complaining, it blocks the wisdom. When your mouth is full of grumbling, your mind is closed to growth. Let me tell you what I learned early on, and it served me well. The person who complains the most learns the least. Why? Because their focus is entirely on what happened to them, instead of asking, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me better?" Listen, life's going to give you dirt sometimes. That's a guarantee. But it's your choice whether you plant something in that dirt and make it grow, or whether you just roll around in it feeling sorry for yourself. You ever hear someone say, "It's always something"? You know those people, right? Maybe, if we're honest, we've all been that person at some point. It's too hot. It's too cold. The traffic was bad. My boss doesn't understand. They want more money, but then they complain when they get more responsibility. Folks, let me tell you, that's not a tough life they're describing. That's a weak mindset. If you want your life to get better, you've got to graduate out of the school of blame and enroll yourself full-time in the University of Personal Responsibility. Now here's the key. This is the practical step. Every time you feel the urge to complain, and you will pause, just pause for a second. And in that pause, replace the complaint with curiosity Ask yourself powerful questions. What is this situation trying to teach me? What can I improve next time so this doesn't happen again, or so I handle it better? What does this reveal about my current habits, my thinking patterns, my level of preparation? Because complaining never ever improves a situation. But learning makes sure you handle it better next time, and the time after that. Let me say it plain. Winners are learners, losers are lingers. Winners learn from every loss, from every mistake, from every setback. Losers just linger in it. They rehash it, they repost it, they replay it in their minds over and over. Some people spend years, an entire decade, complaining about a bad month they had. That's not just poor thinking, my friends. That's a poverty pattern, and I'm inviting you tonight to break it. Here's what I want you to do. Starting tomorrow, start keeping a learning journal, not a complaint diary. At the end of each day, or when something significant happens, write down what happened, how you reacted honestly, what you learned from it, and most importantly, what you'll do differently or better next time. And soon, very soon, life won't feel like it's happening to you. It'll feel like it's happening for you, because it always was. You just couldn't see it clearly through the fog of your own complaints. Let me wrap this one up with a challenge, just for the next 7 days, a 7-day complaint fast. No complaining, not about the weather, not about your boss, not about the traffic, not even about your aches and pains, unless you're talking to your doctor, of course. For 7 days, trade every single urge to complain for a conscious effort to find a lesson, and watch. Just watch what happens to your mindset, to your energy levels, to your progress. It will explode, because success, you see, is allergic to complainers. But it absolutely loves a dedicated student of life. So remember, complaining is a poverty habit. Trade it, break it, leave it behind, and instead rise up with the empowering mindset of a learner. Because when you stop complaining, you start growing. And when you start growing, life opens up in ways you never imagined possible. Now let's talk tonight about one of the greatest gifts you've ever been given. And no, it's not talent, though talent is nice. It's not money, though money is useful. It's not luck, because luck is too fickle. It's this, the inherent God-given ability to get better. That's right. You can get better at anything, anytime you decide to. It's not about waiting on the economy to boom or the next election results. It's skill, plain and simple skill. And the best part, the most exciting part, is that skill is learnable. And that, my friends, is the real magic. You ever look at someone successful and think, man, it must be nice. They've got it so much easier than I do. They must have had a head start, some secret advantage. Well, tonight I've got a little message for you, a little piece of perspective that might shift how you see things. Success is not easier for other people. They're just better at something. That's it. No grand mystery, no magic formula, no secret handshake behind some velvet curtain. They've simply developed a skill. They've cultivated a mindset. They've practiced a habit consistently. They've made a conscious, deliberate decision to get better, not bitter, when faced with life's challenges. Now, don't misunderstand me. I know life's not always fair in its starting points. Some people do appear to get a head start. Some seem to have a few more tools in their toolbox when they begin. But you know what I've learned over all these years, watching thousands of people? Success isn't ultimately about where you start. It's about whether you start. And most people, sadly, never truly do. They're too busy comparing their chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. They're too busy complaining about their circumstances. They're too busy explaining why it's supposedly easier for everybody else. But the truth is, everyone has their own mountain to climb. Everyone has their own set of challenges. And here's the key. Some folks just got better boots for the climb because they took the time to make them or acquire them. I'll be the first to tell you I didn't grow up with much. I was broke at 25, full of frustration and blame. I blamed everything and everyone. The government, the company I worked for, the economy, even the weather. And then one day my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, he changed my life with a few simple words. He said, "Jim, your problem isn't the world. Your problem is you." Ooh, now that was hard to hear. That stung. But it was the absolute truth, and it was the beginning of my transformation. Because once you stop blaming, you can start building. Let me tell you what successful people do. They identify the gap between where they are and where they want to be, and then they get busy closing it. They figure out what they're missing. Is it a skill? Is it a discipline? Is it a relationship? Is it a resource? And then they go to work diligently to acquire or develop what's needed. They're not sitting around saying, "Why is it so easy for her to build that business?" They're asking, "What can I learn from her methods? What skills has she mastered that I haven't yet?" That's the fundamental difference in thinking. Let's get real practical. You see someone succeeding in business, they probably learned how to sell, how to market, how to manage finances. They probably read the books, made the calls, took the rejections, and kept going. You see someone with great influence. They probably learned how to communicate effectively, how to connect with people, how to articulate a vision. They probably practiced until their voice carried weight and conviction. You see someone enjoying financial freedom. They probably learned how to manage money wisely. They learned discipline, strategy, the power of delayed gratification. It wasn't easier for them, it was earned. And let me say something else. Success leaves clues. It leaves a trail. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to be willing to study the path and walk it. Don't envy the man with the mansion. Study his methods, his work ethic, his disciplines. Don't resent the woman with the incredible results. Mirror her routines, her habits, her mindset. Because if you do what successful people do consistently, you can eventually have what successful people have. Now, let me challenge you tonight. Instead of feeling behind, get busy catching up. Instead of comparing your journey to someone else's, start preparing for your own. Instead of scrolling endlessly through everybody else's highlight reel, open a book. Take a class. Join a mastermind group. Learn the thing, develop the skill that makes the difference. Because success is not reserved for a select few, it's rewarded. And it rewards the one who shows up, trains up, and levels up. You say, "But Jim, I'm not there yet." Good. That means you've got something exciting to build, and when you build it yourself, piece by piece, you'll own it. Because, let me tell you, there's something incredibly powerful about earning your confidence. Not borrowing it, not faking it, but working for it, forging it in the fires of effort and experience. Here's the bottom line, folks. Nobody truly has it easier. They just worked harder or longer or smarter at something specific that made them valuable. And the great news, the fantastic news, is that you can do that too. So starting today, stop saying, "I wish I had their life," and start declaring, "I'm ready to build mine." Because success isn't easier for them. They're just better at something. Now it's your turn. Let me start this next part with a truth that might hit a little hard, but it's vital. You don't need fewer problems in your life. What you truly need is more capacity. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, "But Jim, you don't understand what I'm dealing with. My problems are unique. They're overwhelming." Listen, everybody's got problems. The rich have them, the poor have them, the strong have them, the weak have them. Even the guy smiling on that Instagram photo, the one that looks like he has it all figured out, he has problems too. He just filters them better for the picture. You see, life isn't about escaping problems. That's an illusion. Life is about outgrowing them. The goal is not to live a problem-free life. That's a fantasy. That's Disneyland. This is real life. And in real life, problems don't stop showing up. You just get stronger, more capable of handling them. The key isn't making life easier. It's making yourself bigger than what you're facing. Let me tell you what changed everything for me on this front. I used to pray, God, please take away my problems. Make things easier. But the problems, they didn't magically disappear. You know what changed? I did. I stopped praying for less pressure and started training for more resilience. I stopped wishing for calm waters, and I learned how to sail, how to navigate, even in the midst of the storm. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you've got a bucket, and life starts pouring water into it: stress, deadlines, bills, setbacks, disappointments. You can stand there and beg life to stop pouring, or you can get a bigger bucket. Now, which one do you think is more effective in the long run? You can't always control the amount of water life pours, but you absolutely can control the size of your container. That container, that's your capacity. That's your personal growth. Now, let me ask you something straight. Are you actively, consciously working on growing your capacity? Or are you just wishing life would slow down and give you a break? Because here's what happens when you grow your capacity. The same problem that used to stress you out to the max, now you handle it with relative calm, with poise. The same amount of pressure that used to break you, now it actually builds you, it refines you. The same crisis that used to knock you down for the count, now you stand taller than it, looking it in the eye. Why? Because you got bigger, your capacity expanded. Let's talk about how to grow that capacity. It's not mystical, it's practical. Number one, mental discipline. You've got to train your thoughts like an athlete trains their body. Read challenging books. Journal your thoughts and insights. Reflect on your experiences. Think deeply. Learn constantly. Number two, emotional maturity. Not everything needs a massive reaction. Learn to pause before you respond. Learn to breathe. Learn to choose your response, not just be a victim of your knee-jerk emotional impulses. Number three, physical endurance. Don't neglect the body. Your physical energy fuels your mental clarity. Physical strength contributes to every time you speak life and possibility into your day instead of doubt and fear. That's a rep. And over time, those reps, they stack up. They build on each other. They compound. And suddenly, almost without noticing the exact moment of change, you're thinking differently. You're reacting differently. You're living differently. Why? Because you've been training. You've been doing your reps. Now let me tell you what most people do. They go to the gym once or twice and then wonder why they still look the same, why they don't have those six-pack abs. They read one motivational book and wonder why their entire life didn't magically transform overnight. They say one affirmation and expect all their fears and doubts to instantly disappear. But this isn't magic, folks, it's muscle. And muscle takes consistency. It takes time. It takes effort. If you don't consciously and deliberately build your mind daily, the world will build it for you. And guess what the world will often feed it? Fear, excuses, doubt, distraction, negativity. So you've got to take charge. You've got to train your mind like your future depends on it. Because let me tell you, it absolutely does. Let's get practical. You want to build a strong, resilient, positive mindset? Here's your mental gym. 1. Books. Good books. Challenging books. They're the weights for your thoughts. They expose you to new ideas, new perspectives. 2. Journaling. Reflection is like mental stretching. It allows you to process, to learn, to gain clarity. 3. Affirmations. Speaking truth, speaking possibility, speaking your goals into existence until they become your instinct, your default way of thinking. 4. Challenges. Don't avoid resistance, embrace it. Challenges are where your mental muscles get the workout they need to grow. 5. People. Surround yourself with strong minds, with positive people, with individuals who are growing and learning. Weak minds, negative minds, they can be contagious if you're not careful. Let me ask you something. How much time do you consciously spend preparing your mind before your day officially begins? You brush your teeth every day, right? Great. You comb your hair, you get dressed. Excellent. But do you condition your thinking every day with the same diligence? Because your mind is the filter through which you experience your entire life. If that filter is cluttered, if it's negative, everything feels harder, heavier. If it's focused, if it's positive, if it's strong, everything gets clearer, lighter, more manageable. Let me give you a tip that changed my life, and I believe it can change yours. Start your day with intention, not with reaction. Most people, what's the first thing they do when they wake up? They grab their phone. They check emails, social media, the news. And guess what that does? You're letting the world program your mindset before you've even had a chance to program it yourself. Don't let the news headlines, the overflowing inbox, or the comment section condition your day. You condition it. Wake up and consciously feed your mind something strong, something positive. Gratitude, your goals for the day, something that inspires growth. That's a crucial mindset rep. And here's the big idea, friends. Your life will never grow bigger than your mindset. Your relationships, your income, your leadership ability, your peace of mind, it all rises or falls on the quality of your thinking, on the strength of your mindset. Let me wrap this up. You don't get the mindset of a champion by accident. You don't stumble into it. You build it, rep by rep, choice by choice, thought by thought, day by day. And one day you'll wake up and realize you're not as afraid anymore. You're not feeling stuck anymore. You're not doubting yourself every time the wind blows a different direction. Why? Because you did the work. You trained the muscle. You built a mindset that can hold up your dreams and carry you towards your future. So remember this always. Mindset is muscle, and today is arm day. Let's get to work. Let me say something tonight that might just flip your thinking upside down in the best possible way. Be thankful for the struggle. Now, I know that's not easy to hear. It's not popular. It's not the message we typically get from the world around us, scrolling through those perfect-looking lives on social media. But it's truth. And truth, while it doesn't always feel good at first, it always works. It always leads to growth if you embrace it. You see, the struggle isn't in the way of your progress. The struggle is the way. It's not the enemy of your success. It's the engine that drives it. And if you can learn to be grateful for it, to embrace it fully, to squeeze out every last bit of growth and wisdom from it, you'll wake up one day and realize that the very struggle you once wished would go away was actually shaping you, molding you into someone who could win, someone who could achieve great things. Now let me tell you something I learned, often the hard way. Easy times don't build anything of lasting value. They don't build character. They don't build resilience. It's the hard times, the challenging seasons that carve character deep into your soul. It's the tough days that develop genuine toughness. It's the challenges that shape champions. You show me a truly strong person, a person of substance and depth, and I'll show you someone who's been through something significant. Not someone who avoided all difficulties, but someone who went through them and, more importantly, grew through them. And you might say, but Jim, I don't want the pain. I don't want the difficulty. Of course not. Nobody actively seeks out pain for its own sake. But here's the paradox of a meaningful life. Pain, or at least discomfort, is often part of the price of purpose. Think about it. No pressure, no diamond. No struggle, no strength. No fire, no refining of the gold. You want the rewards that come with achievement and growth. You've got to be willing to face the resistance that inevitably comes with striving for something worthwhile. Let me tell you how most people treat struggle. They run from it, they curse it, they complain about it, they pray for it to just go away. But the successful, the truly accomplished, they have a different approach. They thank it in a way, they study it, they leverage it. They ask, what is this trying to teach me? How can this make me stronger, wiser, better? They operate from the belief that this challenge isn't here to destroy me, it's here to develop me. You ever go to the gym and have a really hard workout? That ache in your muscles the next day, that soreness that's not a problem, is it? That's progress. That's your body telling you, hey, we're building something new here, we're getting stronger. Well, life's the same way. That frustration you feel, that failure you experienced, that setback that knocked you off your feet, yes, it hurts, but it's also feedback. It's growth happening in real time, if you choose to see it that way and use it. Here's a new perspective I want you to try on. The next time you find yourself in a tough season, a period of struggle, don't just ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, ask a more empowering question. What is this preparing me for? Because life in its infinite wisdom never wastes a struggle if you're paying attention. There's always something valuable in it. A lesson to be learned, a strength to be discovered, a crucial turning point if you recognize it. But you have to look for it. You have to mine for it, like a prospector searching for gold, because growth doesn't usually shout, it often whispers. And you've got to be quiet enough, attentive enough, to hear it through the noise of your own discomfort and frustration. Now hear this carefully. Gratitude in the struggle is the beginning of transformation. When you can look at the storm raging around you and genuinely say, "Thank you. You're teaching me something." You develop the disciplines, the habits, and the skills that produce abundance, and that internal shift is the key. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself tonight and every night. Not how can my spouse get better? Not how can my coworkers get better? Not how can my circumstances improve? But how can I get better? How can I grow today? Because the better you get, the more capable you become, the more resilient you are, the more attractive you are mentally, emotionally, professionally. And when you rise, the quality of your entire life rises with you. Now let me be clear. This is a process, not an event. You don't become a new person overnight by listening to one speech or reading one book. You chip away at it day by day, habit by habit, thought by thought. But oh, the compound effect of those small, consistent improvements is incredible. One small improvement in your discipline today leads to a change in your daily routine, which changes your consistent actions, which changes your results, which then boosts your confidence, which can change your entire direction, and ultimately change your destiny. So, if your life feels stuck, if you feel like you're on repeat, if you're waiting for some external breakthrough, don't just look at what needs to change around you. Look first, and most importantly, at what needs to grow within you, because you can't have more until you become more. That's not a punishment, that's a principle, and it's one of the greatest, most empowering principles of success I've ever learned. Let me close this one out with a challenge and a new motto if you're willing to adopt it. Make this your unwavering commitment. I'm going to get better no matter what. Not just when it's easy, not just when people are cheering you on, but especially when no one's watching, when it's just you and your commitment. You grow, you read, you reflect, you practice, you improve. You sharpen your thinking, you deepen your character, you strengthen your resolve, and here's what will happen. One day you'll look up, and your life will indeed feel easier. Things will flow better, opportunities will appear, but it won't be because life magically got easier. It will be because you got better. And that, my friends, is the name of the game. Let me give you one of the greatest turning points you can experience in your life, one of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make. And it's this: raise your standards. That's right. Consciously, deliberately, raise your personal standards, because your standards, they set the floor of your life, not the ceiling. They set the minimum level of performance, of behavior, of quality you will accept from yourself. You'll rarely, if ever, go permanently lower than your established standards. But here's the other side of that coin. You'll also never consistently go higher than your willingness to live up to them with disciplined action. Now hear me on this. Everybody wants more. More success, more health, more love, more income, more peace of mind. That's natural. But very few people are willing to draw a line in the sand and say, "This is the new minimum I will accept for myself in this area of my life." That declaration, that internal commitment, that's the real shift. That's the difference between merely wishing for something and working for it with disciplined intent, between a fleeting desire and a non-negotiable discipline. Now, don't misunderstand me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting more. Want is the starting point, but want is weak without commitment. You don't ultimately get what you want in life. You get what you tolerate. Think about that. If you tolerate chaos in your environment or your schedule, you'll likely live in it. If you tolerate making excuses for yourself, you'll probably keep repeating them. If you tolerate mediocrity in your performance, you'll likely stay stuck in it. But the day you say, enough, this is not who I am anymore, this level of performance, this way of thinking, this habit, is no longer acceptable to me, that's when everything starts to change. Let me give you an example. Someone says, I want to get in shape. That's a want. But they keep eating the same unhealthy foods, sleeping erratically, and consistently skipping workouts. That's not a standard. That's a fantasy. You truly want to be fit. Make it a non-negotiable standard. I don't skip my health commitments, period. You want to grow your business. Raise the standard. I don't end the day without doing at least one thing, no matter how small, to move my business forward. You want better relationships? Raise the standard. I don't speak to the people I love with disrespect, even when I'm upset. Don't just write down goals. Write down personal rules, standards of conduct and performance, and then live by them with integrity. Now, here's the second crucial half of the equation. Raise your standards, yes, but then you must match them with consistent action. Because standards without corresponding action, that's just ego. That's just talk. That's just writing pretty things on a vision board and hoping the universe magically pays attention. Listen, the universe doesn't primarily respond to wishes. It responds to work, to aligned action, to the energy you put out. So when you raise your standard for yourself, make absolutely sure your daily behavior, your habits, your choices back it up. You say you're a professional? Then show up like one, prepare like one, deliver like one. You say you value your time? Then guard it fiercely, invest it wisely. You say you want to grow? Then actively stretch yourself. Put in the sweat, make the necessary sacrifices. That's how you live up to what you say you believe, to the standards you've set. Now, let me tell you what happens when you do this. When you truly raise your standards and live by them, even when nobody's watching, even when it's hard, you start to walk different, you talk different, you think different. There's a new level of self-respect that emanates from you, and people, they start to notice. Opportunities that seemed hidden before start to appear. Life itself starts matching your new level of seriousness, your new level of commitment. Not because you got lucky, but because you got committed. You changed your internal operating system. Let me ask you tonight, and be brutally honest with yourself. What are you currently tolerating in your life, in your habits, in your performance that you know you shouldn't be? Where have your standards perhaps slipped over time? What excuses are you still accepting from yourself that are holding you back? Call it out, write it down if you have to, and then decide with conviction that that version of you is no longer in charge. And then don't just raise the standard in your mind. Rise to meet it with your actions every single day. Because that's where true transformation lives, right there, in that sometimes uncomfortable, but always empowering space between what you now expect of yourself and what you are willing to consistently do to achieve it. Let me close this out with this. Don't lower your standards to fit your current comfort zone. That's a recipe for stagnation. Instead, raise your behavior to fit your vision. Hold yourself to a higher code, a personal code of excellence. One that doesn't flinch under pressure, one that doesn't vanish when things get hard or inconvenient. Raise it, match it with action, live it with integrity, and the world, it has a funny way of rising to meet you. Because when your standards go up, inevitably, so does your life. Let me tell you what excellence, true excellence, really looks like. It's not loud, it's not flashy. It doesn't need to announce itself with a bullhorn. You know what real excellence, the kind that commands respect and achieves remarkable results, often looks like. It looks easy. Not because the task itself is easy, but because the person performing it has become so good, so practiced, so masterful, that they make it look that way. You ever seen a world-class athlete move with such grace and precision it seems effortless? A concert pianist whose fingers dance across the keys, producing a symphony that seems to flow from them without thought. A gifted speaker who walks onto a stage and commands the attention of the entire room with a quiet confidence, sometimes even with just a whisper. That's not just natural talent, folks. That's refined. That's not a trick or some innate gift they were just born with. That's training. That's countless hours of dedicated practice. You don't get to that level by hoping. You don't get there by just winging it. You get there by practicing, by eschewing your craft, by repeating the fundamentals until your performance becomes almost instinct, until excellence becomes your default. Let me say it like this. Skill at its highest level often looks like ease. But please, don't confuse the apparent ease of the outcome with the monumental effort that went into achieving it. What you're seeing is mastery, and mastery comes from relentless repetition, from a healthy obsession with improvement, from unwavering discipline over an extended period. They've done it so many times, in so many conditions, that the moves become automatic. The decisions become swift and intuitive. Their presence becomes magnetic, not because it's inherently easy for them, but because they earned the right, through sheer hard work and dedication, to make it look that way. Now, here's the challenge I want to lay before you. Aspire to become so good at what you do, so proficient in your chosen field or skill, that your excellence becomes a form of quiet confidence. So good that people don't just hear your words. They feel the weight and substance behind them. So good that you stop needing to convince anyone of your value, because your results, your performance, your very being do all the talking for you. So good that the hard thing, the thing that others struggle with, you make it look almost effortless, not out of arrogance, but because you've diligently trained for it. You say, "But Jim, I'm not there yet. I'm far from that level." And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Excellence is a journey, not a destination reached overnight. But you must start the journey. You do the reps. You do the reading. You seek out the mentors. You show up and practice even when it's boring, even when you're tired, even when nobody's watching or cheering you on. You stick with it, especially when it gets difficult. And one day, that very thing that used to intimidate you, that task that seemed so daunting, you'll walk into it with a sense of grace, with a calm assurance. Not because it magically stopped being hard, but because you got strong. You got skilled. You got better. Now, let me give you a word of warning that's critically important. Most people quit too soon. They try something once, maybe twice, perhaps even 3 times, if they're really persistent by modern standards. And then they say, this is not for me. I'm just not good at it. No, it's not necessarily that it's not for you. It's often that you haven't become good at it yet. The hard is still visible, still palpable, because you haven't put in enough focused work, enough consistent practice to make it invisible, to make it look easy. And that's okay. That's part of the process. But don't stop when it's hard. Keep going until you make it look easy, at least to the outside observer. Excellence isn't the absence of difficulty. It's the mastery of it. You've got to learn to almost dance with difficulty, to see it as a partner in your growth. You've got to wrestle with repetition until it becomes second nature.